What's up, guys? Today's video is going to be all about the project I dropped last year called Why I Love You, a concept EP. But before we get into it, I got something to tell you. I didn't get a whole lot of footage back when I made the project, so I got my homie over and he's helped me reenact some of those scenes so you can tell what it was kinda like.
Chest puffin', hard strutting, man, we was on something. Flirting with this girl and I'm trying to find her arm buttons.
Back in early 2017, when I decided to put this project together, I was facing a problem. Every time people were asking me what I did in music production, I felt like I didn't have anything to show. I decided I'm gonna put together my own project. This way I could show, hey, I can make some beats. I can also do the full song, think of the arrangement, mix it. Basically show that I'm more than just one skill set. But in Toronto, where I'm now originally from, I didn't really have a big network. So instead of trying to run out and find people, maybe getting held up for months before I could start, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be the artist myself. Cause hey, I started rapping back in high school. I mean, that's what got me into hip hop. So might as well just use my own skills.
You cats wanna talk sex, I'ma talk checks. I don't wanna sell out, it's the mic I rep. So I gotta show you how I like to step. Gotta show you how my lyrics gon' wreck your rep.
The first track on the project is called Chest Poppin', and I worked on with my buddy Tactics. It's actually the same beat used in another YouTube video I did, where I made a beat with a cup full of coins. I actually played this track for him, and he was kind of feeling it.
Yeah, man. It was hot.
So I was like, hey, you wanna jump on a track with me?
Guy! Of course!
So when we started putting this track together, the vibe I was getting was back in high school when you were kind of rapping with your friends in the cafeteria, I wanted to make something that was kind of like that. So we ended up making this kind of like braggadocious, oh, I can get a girl better than you vibe from back in high school.
Hey. You think you beating me? You ludicrous. I'm too legit. I ain't new to this. You dropped the ball because I neutered it.
Chest puffin', hard strutting, man, we was on something. Chest puffin', hard strutting, man, we was on something.
Alright, so one of the songs I really like on the project is called Acting Famous. It's a song about catcalling, but when I first wrote it, I recorded it to this different kind of beat, and I was struggling, so I started to make a different beat for it. But even that wasn't really coming together. Then I happened to have this conversation with my dad, and he was talking about how Elton John used to work with this producer, and the producer would wait to see what kind of melodies he was humming and then build around them. And I'd also heard at around the same time that Kendrick Lamar would write a lot to just a drum loop, and then they would kind of produce a song around him. So I started thinking, let me try the same thing. Let's see how that influences and changes my music. And I did the same thing with the drum track. And boy, let me tell you, there's something really amazing about just having some vocals and then building the the melody and the harmony and everything else around those vocals. Because now you know what space they play and you run into less scenarios where you're conflicting with the two.
Baby, I don't know, but when I see you walking, you gallop in my mind, you got me jocking.
And as this project came together, I started to realize I'm gonna need some skits, to make a story and tie this whole thing together. So I sat down my homie who helped me on that one chest puffin' track and was like, hey, let me explain to you what I want. So I wanna do some skits with you, like we'll go into a car, or it's gonna sound like we're in the car. And
What kind of car? Because you do realize the car that I currently drive is not the greatest.
And then it took some more explanation. Later on, I also got my girl involved, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna need a female voice in this. There's a couple of skits I need just to, really make this story real. Hey babe, can you help me by lending me your voice? I need you on a skit on the project. Can you help me out?
Do I have to?
Yeah, it took some convincing.
Get back. Get back.
Alright, so there's this other track on the project called So Rude, and it's about how the relationship is hitting a rocky point. This needed a female's voice in here to show the female perspective, because it kind of like builds into an argument, and you can't have an argument one-sided. So I hit up my girlfriend's niece because I know she could sing and asked her to come over and try to put some vocals down on this track. When she got over here and we started working on it though, we started to realize that this really wasn't much of a track to sing on. And we only had about a couple hours, and we got down to about the last 30 minutes, and it was looking like this might not happen. But you gotta persevere, you gotta keep trying, encouraging, and really not showing if you're a little bit scared that this might not happen. So she kind of tried this kind of like semi-rap thing, and it started to work. We refined the lyrics, and guess what? In the last, I'm not kidding you, 2 minutes before we had to leave, she recorded it, one take, solid, and that's how that record basically came together. Super excited about it. It's actually one of my favorite tracks on the whole project. Just the production on it and how it changes throughout. I really enjoyed making it, and you should definitely be checking that one out. Alright, so there's this track on the project called I'm Colin. It's real special to me. It's also my homie's favorite track on the project.
The whole record is great, but that is actually my favorite track. I've been bumping that non-stop since he released this. So yeah, it's dope. The only problem with the track actually is that I wasn't on that one. Just saying.
Yeah, he's a little mad at me for not being on it, but whatever, we move on. So the thing that's special is I wrote this track actually when I was 17. I had released it before, but when I was looking at this project and the story of how this braggadocious track that led into this cat calling and picks up the girl track, and then this argument track at the end, I needed a glue for a third song. And I happened to remember this song, and the way it was put together, it kind of was a guy falling in love, but he's a little bit arrogant still. I thought that would fit perfectly. I basically brought that one out of retirement and recorded it again. The thing though was I reworked the beat so many times. I can't even remember how many times. The one thing that stood out was when I was sending it to get mastered, I basically had the guy preview all the tracks to see if there's any issues. And he liked that song too. But he was the hook man, I don't know, it didn't go where I wanted it to go. So I actually had to rework it, brand new samples and everything. And sometimes that's just what you gotta do, last minute. It wasn't about perfectionism, it was about recognizing that there was a little bit of dookie in the track and it had to be taken out. And that's one of the things that actually people like most about the song is the hook and the samples that were used. And if I hadn't done that, it probably would have been the failure on the album or the EP. And who knows? Maybe there'll be a remix in the future, because I feel like there's a certain person out there who really wants to jump on it.
But whatever. It's cool. It's not, but whatever.
Alright guys, that's pretty much it. I love putting together this project. It was a labor of love, and it really pushed me to the next level. When you really not just produce the music, but you also craft the lyrics, and you bring these two things together, you also realize, sometimes you gotta leave space for that artist. Sometimes as producers, we overproduce and we're not thinking about how somebody could sit on this song. I just love doing this. Hopefully this inspires somebody who's either a producer or an artist to, create their own project. And if you're just a listener, you just enjoy music, maybe you enjoy seeing how this stuff, comes together. If nothing else, learned a little bit of the process. So if you like this, please like and subscribe. Drop me a comment. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. Anyways, y'all, peace out.
What are you doing?
So I'm Colin. I'm Colin. I'm Colin. I'm Colin. Sometimes.